I didn't recognize you here. So you doing any field trips?
I am. I've already done one. I've got two more. I got one coming up this Wednesday. The summer camp program, literacy.
Oh, Margaret.
Margaret.
I'm doing that.
Are you doing that big cake? That's only one way.
Yes. There's 2 days. No, that's before that.
But I got that one too. That one's not until 22nd. It's like we got we already did the one.
Yeah.
They have like pigs, horse, a dairy cow.
Yeah.
That was last.
Do you know what this address is? I think she said Jefferson.
The address down there?
Yeah, 125 Jefferson somebody.
Jeffrey Wilson Drive.
Jeffrey Wilson.
I'm trying to remember the numerics, but it's Jeffrey Wilson Drive.
I'm going
The big canoe creek. Now they got some. On the 10th, I had to take first grade now. We had 2 acres out there in that grass field area, right there where right between the elementary school and right when you come down in that little circle thing, right there in that grass patch area, they had a little farm.
You go in there, you see.
Oh, I was parked right next to you. You have it parked right next to the fence? Okay, I was parked right behind you. 2618. Came down there, but I'm driving 2603 right now.
Oh, is it? Oh, you got special.
I have special. My 2618.
Yeah. How are you?
Check the back. And it being the battery is down there, it's last Thursday. Nobody told you I was supposed to. He had 3% charge on it this morning. All these buses guys keep, you have to learn, and I've never done
Doing it. I'm all right.
If we're gonna be in jail, 3 days. Yeah. So.
I can't believe it.
I'm coming back to take my field trip. Huh? I'm gonna take
I've been meaning to come back.
Yeah. Because he should do
That's my chair. I'm sorry? That's all right. Keep it warm for another 3.5 years.
Yes.
You're always the best dressed. Every time we leave, I'm like, but now I know your secret. You're at work.
I'm at work.
You ain't going home to change.
No, I just come directly in.
What do you do again? I know you work at a law firm or
So I'm a social worker and a paralegal.
where?
So I'm a paralegal for 2 civil rights attorneys.
To what?
Civil rights attorneys. And then I'm a social worker and a homeless victim community.
Do you guys work with mental health?
Well, in which capacity?
My friend, I'm going to be sitting with
that's there. Just moved up here around mine. That's what babysitting him, sponsoring him. He's on probation. He just got out of prison. Yeah, but from that, yes. But he's diagnosed bipolar. This is before he's been in for about a year now. They've got a year probation. I did his interstate compact, got his stuff moved here to St. Clair. USPO, USPO is down there. The only stipulation for his 1 year probation besides don't get in trouble. He has to have a mental health evaluation. And all it says in the paperwork is mental health evaluation within 45 days. I called him and I lost track, so I may not have talked to anybody. But the PO even, I can't remember his name, Marlon something, up in Asheville. I told him, I'm like, I called called everywhere in St. Clair. Everybody was like, we don't do that. So he says, here's some numbers. So he calls, talks to a place in Hamilton. This we can do that. He drove out there this morning. They're like, oh, you need a doctor. That's what I told you on the phone. What is
You got paper copies? Just have the paper copy of the agenda.
I tell you what, give me a call and I'll send you a couple copies.
JBS Mental Health Authority, Montclair Road? Okay. Nonprofit mental health services provider. Now, he doesn't need the services, he needs an evaluation. And then he wants treatment, but he's got to have the evaluation to satisfy the order within 45 days.
And I'm sitting with the
Okay, so I found this one. Let me screenshot this one. I forget. Is that in Birmingham? Kind of a second chance place? Yeah. In a way, they offer services and kind of help you find your footing, not give you stuff, help you. Learn what you're not.
I'm not.
Fender alumni is right there. Tuscaloosa Avenue, Birmingham. So, and what do they do?
So they
Oh, yeah. My nose is closed.
Like you run to the jail or to the correctional facility and say, come on.
It's okay. But yes, that's what you do. I wish they would give us these services.
Can you go down there and walk on him?
Yes.
Just give him a hug. Because he is the one thing, his name's Justin. He's so frustrated right now. He's been home for a week. I went and got him. Brought him back up.
You saying you don't want the money and start the work. Email me.
That's all right. You know what? So come on.
How we doing? Doing well.
All right, good evening, everyone.
go ahead and call this work session to order. 6 p.m. Margaret City Hall, June 15th. The tonight's work session is just about discussion, and we're going to talk to the items on the work session agenda, answer questions where we can, and move into the regular council session. So tonight I wanted to start off with the mayor's report and a brief update. So over the last several weeks, we've had a lot of items that we've been working through, and all moving in the same direction to work to get the city better organized, to get things better documented, and to get prepared for the next several years. And that includes financial planning, fire protection, public works needs, roof requests, permitting, vehicle use policies, and long-term capital planning. One of the common themes tonight is structure, trying to keep things together and organize items. And some of them are not exciting, but they're necessary and they're part of governance. And so, if we want the city to grow responsibly, we have to plan responsibly. And so we need the policies that protect us and the taxpayers, and systems in place to help the staff do their jobs, and the financial plan to help keep everything and help make all the major decisions ahead of time rather than at crisis time. So I just want to take a few minutes tonight also to talk about the fire department, because I believe everybody needs a clear update on the fire department. And so I just want to start that by saying that our firefighters aren't props. They're not campaign pieces. They're not bargaining chips. And they're the ones who respond when people are scared, when homes are being threatened, when wrecks happen, and when loved ones need emergency care. They're the ones who show up. And so over the last several months, we've systematically watched the fire department get pulled into political arguments, and in a way that's not fair to them and it's not helpful for the city. And so there are real needs in the department, and those include apparatus needs, equipment needs, station needs, and maintenance needs, as well as long-term planning needs. So those issues deserve serious discussion, and they don't deserve to be turned into talking points to stir up arguments, fear, and anger. And so the truth is pretty simple. The fire department just needs our support, all of us, from council to citizens to employees, all the way up and down the chain. These are the ones who support us, and so the best we can do is support them. And that also, that's why a lot of these items are on the agenda tonight. And Chief Thomas has made a concerted effort to provide updates to council and to the city about what's going on in the department. He's arranging testing, he's setting up maintenance, he's also handling reporting and setting up all the best options he can to keep our fire department up to snuff. In addition to that, he's applied for a couple grants, and we've been submitting grants for fire suppression, for mobile cascade systems, and also fire engine replacement. Right, that's a big thing. We've got to go after the money in every way we can. And so that's the kind of work that the fire department leadership has been doing, and he's documented it. He's kept everybody up to date, and he's just really trying to focus on being ready for the future. And so we have a fire truck proposal before this council tonight, and a funding option before the council tonight. And so nobody should pretend that a fire apparatus is a small decision. It's a major investment, and we also shouldn't pretend that it's imaginary, because it's our job to plan accordingly so that we can deal with these large purchases and look at all the options to help decide what the best responsible step is going forward. But I also want to say plainly that remember that tomorrow is an election day, the primary runoffs, and across the state and county. So remember to go out and vote, even though emotions are high and politics are loud. Just remember to do your primary duty and vote. So one last time before we get going, I'm going to ask everyone, council staff, candidates, residents, anyone watching, to just keep the fire department in mind. I want people to debate me, to debate the budget, to debate proposals, and debate the timeline. But that's all fair, that's all fine and well and good. But don't use firefighters as a shield in the political argument. Don't use the public safety to scare people for political advantage. Let's just leave that on the table. And so our city has a responsibility to support the fire department and a responsibility to protect the taxpayers. And those two things go hand in hand. And so after that said, roll call vote. I'm sorry, roll call vote.
Councilperson Chapman? Councilperson Bell?
Present.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Here.
Councilperson Davis?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rain?
Here.
Mayor Tracy?
Here. Alright. So next up, I have a financial report on the agenda, but the auditor who was gonna come and give us an update on the audit and talk about where we are this year as well. We had a conflict in time. He thought the meetings were still at 5, and he had an anniversary dinner to get to. So I can touch on some of it, but for the most part, we're gonna move this topic to the next council meeting. But we're gonna take a big look at where we're at and where we're going. And one of our council topics is a bond issuance, and it's a big decision financially. And I think with that, I think we can go ahead and ask Brad, if you don't mind, to come up and discuss those options.
Okay.
How you say?
Thank you.
Yes, so thank you, Mayor. Brad Green with Raymond James. Glad to be here.
That's not be turned on. It's not.
Is it on?
No, I don't think it is. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's great to be here. We were fortunate enough to have worked with the city before, and we've worked on the financing of this lovely building. I remember the last time I was with the council, it was in another location and a much different environment. So congratulations, obviously. The city's moving forward, and there's a lot of exciting things happening here. The mayor reached out, and we're grateful for that. We've run a couple different scenarios. We looked at different amounts. We looked at different payback terms, and we've actually whittled this down to 2 scenarios. If you want to see the other scenarios, I'm happy to share those with you. I didn't want information overload. So this spreadsheet works in terms of, to the very far left, you'll see general fund debt service. So the city has one other bond issue that was issued 23, 21, I can't remember, but that was for the purchase of the sewer system from Moody. So that kind of pays for itself out of the utility funds. And the 2017 issue was the issue that we refinanced a bunch of bank loans, and then also got some additional funds to construct this building. So that's paid from the general fund. So we just wanted to isolate the general fund and see, what effect that would have on the general fund's annual debt service payments. So as you go to the right, we've run $3 million. So that would be the construction fund deposit closing. And then we've run it out for 20 years. The blue scenario is just a level payment every year. So each year is within a $5,000 rounding amount, and that's because bonds are sold in $5,000 increments. So we've tried to create as level as a payment as possible there. So it's about $240,000 a year. So you just divide that by 12 to get your monthly payment. And then as you move to the right, under the red scenario, this is what we would call a wraparound scenario. So this scenario takes into account the debt that you're currently paying and lowers some of the principal payments in the first 10 years, and then it wraps it around that issue when it's paid off. So the idea here is to lower the increase over the near term while you're still paying off your old debt service, and then you wrap the new principal around. And what that does is, under the gray column, under the blue scenario, you'll see that your payment would drop after 10 years. Does everybody see that? And then under the red scenario, this creates a level payment over 20 years when you take into account your existing debt. So the first scenario, you would have a level payment on the new debt, but that would create a drop in 10 years. And then if you did the other scenario, that would create a level overall payment for 20 years and have a lower increase in your payment in the near term. That's kind of a lot of information. The other thing that we've looked at is there's some state laws that dictate how much municipalities can go into debt, and that is you take the assessed value of all the taxable property within the city limit, which we've gotten from the St. Clair County Revenue Commissioner's Office, and you can issue up to 20% of that amount. So we did that calculation, and there's ample room to do this project under the state law. And of course, the other, that's kind of like a credit card limit. You can't spend more than your credit card limit, but what can you realistically afford to repay? So that's kind of the second exercise that mayor and council and city clerk will have to do to make sure that there's funds available to make these payments. But it's good in terms of going to the bond market. That is a process in and of itself. So what the mayor is going to talk to you guys about, the financial policies, we've reviewed some of those. We've made comments. We've sent other examples. And so, if you do move forward with the fire projects, it would be good to have some of those policies adopted before we go start the rating agency process. So we'll have to go, get a credit rating. The city's grown a lot over the last 3 years, so that would be a kind of a prudent thing to do as we're talking about all these other things. I'm here to answer questions. We tried to make it somewhat simple.
Right. So you mentioned our rating currently is at A-, with the implementation of some policies that were in the council packet. And this is just the first pass of the policies, but with these policies implemented, it would most likely push our rating up to an A+ rating. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so the trends are all positive in terms of the things that the rating agencies look at. They look at reserves. They look at the financial policies. They really focus on some things that are related to your assessed value. So that's reflected in business growing here, residential development, which you guys have obviously seen some significant growth in that area. And they also look at median family incomes. And so there's some things that are out of your control that are holding the rating back, but there are also things that are in your control, which are like financial policies and reserve levels and that kind of thing. So, our hope and desire would be to put together a presentation that would really highlight those things and talk about the things that you guys are trying to get here to increase the tax base and help tell that story. And so that would be our hope, is to there's nothing ever guaranteed with rating agencies either. It's like the Wizard of Oz. They sit behind the curtain and we don't know what they talk about, but they've given us the criteria they use. So we'll take a look at all that with the city and try to set the city up for this best opportunity to get, maybe a 1-notch upgrade. Would certainly be the goal.
Does council have any questions, concerns? This is a nice one too. Step process to basically get us to where we need to get a new apparatus and a new station, and also have some extra for additional facilities. And I keep here as well to speak to the fire station. There was some debate over the expense of the fire station. So Keith, would you mind touching on the fire station, the cost, and what that looks like?
Sure. I think I would start, Mayor, by saying, the purpose for the initial budget we did was to look for some grant monies. So there are certainly things there that we would want to be on the high side of the budget. So, a lot of the stuff is gonna be the finish. We know kind of what a basic building would cost, and I can predict that pretty well, but brick costs more than metal siding, and glass doors cost more than doors that are metal or wooden. So all those decisions will have to be made. Now, obviously, the current proposal that we've talked about is in a residential area, and I know we've talked about we want to make that as aesthetically pleasing as we could. We talked about some ways to do that, to kind of differentiate it from a metal, pre-engineered metal building to make it look more residential. So there's some expense there, but you don't have a full build out, at least not in what we've talked about so far. It was gonna be pretty minimal, so I think that cost can be adjusted some.
Well, that's not, like, so obviously we have the land acquisition, prepping the land, and then the building itself. What, in the original estimate that the council has, like what all is taken into consideration there? Because I know the current plan has some dead space above, at the top of the bay, kind of like, so there are some options we could do also to bring the roof and the height of the building down, but also want to address the living quarters. Now you had in the plans, you had drawn in the bathrooms and the storage closet and a few other things. But how much does that, the living quarters in the temporary living quarters in the bay play into the cost of the?
I mean, obviously, one of the big things that we try to avoid is not to go to 2 stories. I mean, obviously with a mezzanine, you can have storage and those things aren't very expensive, but if we start putting living quarters on a second story, it gets higher. Initially, it was gonna be kind of a minimal type station with just the kind of the basics with your storage and some restroom facilities, cleaning facilities, that sort of thing. Now, to build that out, the cheapest way would be to increase the size a little and then build it out on the 1 story.
Yeah.
And that would have a big effect on the cost or the total cost. But if we're high on our initial, then, you know, we're just gonna have to do some more design work to get you those numbers.
Well, let me clarify, I wasn't meaning to try to build a living quarters above, because we have the space on the first floor to build it. My main concern was the amount of open space for heating and cooling for the apparatus. Like, we kind of deal with that at Station 2. We're spending a tremendous amount of money just heating that area.
Well, and that's difficult with those high ceilings, as you can tell. I mean, a lot of people put in radiant heat and ventilation, but would stop short of doing a fully encapsulated HVAC system just because of cost.
Right.
Any of those other, if you wanted to build out certain rooms, then you could use kind of the individual systems or more of a residential type system for small areas, and that's fairly, that is affordable to get those things done. But on the big bays, I mean, you're gonna need a 14-foot door, which is gonna make about a minimum of 8, 10, or 20-foot eve height. And so, you know, you're just gonna have a lot of that plenum area. So what I would tell you, most people I have seen do is control it with ventilation and then radiant heat, but stop short of doing a full HVAC in that area.
So how comfortable are you with the 1.4 to 1.5 number that you gave us before?
I'm sorry.
How comfortable are you with the numbers you gave us before?
I mean, what I did was call and got average prices for other stations that were built, not only ones I've been involved with, but I called other contractors.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're pretty good with a pre-engineered metal base and brick type fascia, so that would improve the looks. I think I would want to be high, particularly for the purposes of grants.
Yep.
So I would want to overestimate a little bit in order for us to go after these grants. As you move forward, I'm very comfortable that we can get below that. And you're just gonna have to decide those design issues.
Yep.
How nice do you want it, you know, like with the house at our own house, you know, I might want something, but we may have to compromise and do a little bit less. Perhaps you do the nice brick and then a little bit less on the doors. The doors are quite expensive. So.
Council have any questions about the fire station and the cost of the fire station?
So your current proposal is 1.5 million. It includes 2 restrooms. That includes nothing else. No living quarters, no bedrooms, no kitchenettes, no nothing. Just 2 bathrooms and a mechanical room is what's currently on the layout. Am I correct? For 1.5 million.
That's brick, that's fixing the site, that's everything inclusive to build the concept that we were told to start with. So yes, that's accurate. That's what it costs these days.
And that leaves us a little bit of headroom in what we're going after with the bond, so that's, pretty comfortable. I believe, don't want to diverge too much from the topic, but, it might be a good time to go ahead and talk about the water tower. Todd? Todd? Someone see if you want to touch on the water tower with Todd Keith here, and just kind of talk about the need and so Keith can answer anything that, you may not be ready for. Just to give an update on the,
So, I mean, I agree that, after Mr. Harvey's, talking about the we do need another storage tower. Looking at the maps, I believe that the other tank is the best place to put it. I don't agree it looks right, but elevation wise, that would be the best place for it.
and so from I guess just attacking into while you're both there, like Keith, when you evaluated that 6 months ago or so, right after the election, when we asked you to really dive in and give us an idea of where the best location was, can you speak to the other locations we looked at and or the benefits of the current location that we've been considering? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Again, we're looking at the growth from Sane Road in that direction is where 90% of the growth of the city is, so that's the area that we're in most need. As far as sites that we looked all up and down on Electric Road. There were a couple that we were kind of told that it would be unlikely that they would sell it. So that kind of, we didn't go too far down that road, although you can always revisit it. The elevation is important because of the way your system is set up currently. You don't have a lot of zones. Now, we are trying to work on some of that. Todd is certainly working hard at it to maybe help with some of that. But what we have inherited is your system kind of works on one gradient. And what that means is that the towers, if they're not exactly at the same elevation, we have to hold less in some of your storage facilities. There are ways to look at that. We're trying to do that. That would be another good thing. But if we have to get that elevation of a new storage facility, the same elevation we have with the other, then we have to be somewhere close as far as elevation of the ground. And we can increase the size of the elevation of the tank, but it doesn't, it's not linear, meaning twice the tower is not double the cost. It's exponential. It's a lot more to go and get really, really high with the tank. Now, the tank you have is quite high. I believe it's 110 feet up to overflow. So if we were 20 or 30 feet lower at the base, then we would have to be 150 feet in order to make those two things meet. So those are all things to be considered. And again, also looking at where property is available. If we can't buy it, then it's pretty hard for us to try to plan that. So we're taking into account all those things and not discounting any other idea. I mean, tell us an idea and we will try to develop it for you.
Yeah, and one of the things too, and it's just an option, one of those many options, is that the second tower would not necessarily have to be the same type of tower. Like that's a high pressure tower, right? That's the point of the skinnier base up to the large bell at the top. So it could be that another tower there looks something like the other two towers we have, or it's just storage. But on that same token, the infrastructure was put in place to get the water to the other side of the tracks a few years ago, and we just now got that moved over in the city's name. So like, not only is the location at High Point, but you also have enough throughput there to get it to the rest of the community.
Correct. Another compelling factor that we touched on, I believe at the last meeting that I was attended, you have some bigger lines right there on Old Acton Road. So if we were to identify another location, even if the elevations and things were good, you may run into where we have to make some pretty big line extensions to even get that water into your system. which again is another thing of cost that we're trying our best to keep the most reasonable way we can do it. But, again, we're not to a complete design, but that's where we are today, and we feel good about it.
Council have any questions about the location of the water tower or the water tower itself?
So you're saying that no current upgrades will be needed to the current water system to supply the water to the tank? Is that what you're saying?
Not if we're close to that location. Your infrastructure and your bigger lines run down Old Acton. So that's kind of where we're touching on. You're gonna have to build the foundation of the tank and then connect it to your system.
Correct.
Yeah. But we would hope that that would be minimal, not run that thousands and thousands of feet would really be a big cost, and we would like to try to avoid that if possible.
Any other questions or concerns? Now's the time to dive in.
That was last time we discussed it. We were talking about we would have to upgrade the size of the line coming all the way down Old Acton to supply water to get to the other side of the tracks. That's what we were talking about previously.
I don't recall ever hearing that in a council meeting.
There was certainly a lot of talk about trying to upgrade the Sandy Road line, but with right-of-way and things, that never really went very far on the early stages. Again, anywhere we have those larger mains, we need those 8-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch mains. That's the kind that would make a big help for your system. If we put that way in a remote location, even if on paper it looks a little better, if you have to run a 12-inch line over to that new tank, that's a huge expense that might be as high as the tank itself. But we will certainly look at any feasible spot, and we have. But that seemed like the most promising to us.
Anything else from council? All right. Thank you both for your time. All right, moving back to the cloud permit was next on the list. It's my understanding that Brad reached out to a couple of the council people and talked about their concerns. They've come back with a new proposal with a little bit of a reduced cost. I believe it was, so they were going to reduce the implementation cost, and which means year one would be 16,000, year two would be 15,600, year three would be 16,224, year four would be 16,873, and year five would be 17,548. And the implementation total would only be 3 as opposed to, I believe, 5 or 6 that they originally requested. And so with that change in costing, does anybody have any concerns, questions, or anything else they'd like to ask or add or look into? Just as a reminder that the software basically held wore multiple hats and could do permitting, a business license, customer or citizen complaints and issues, and just had many different facets to it. All right, if there's no more questions about that, I wanted to touch on our current information request policy. So Governor Ivey has released some new requirements and or suggestions for state agencies and their information requests. And it brings a big point to bear about like how we handle digital information requests, because we're getting more and more requests of that nature, and those things still do take time and take effort. And so I'd like us to start looking into revising our information policy to be a little bit more in line with what the governor has recommended, but also take into consideration the time and effort and it takes to put things together. And even when a request is asking for it in digital format, that doesn't mean we have it in digital format to turn around and hand out. And we've been inundated with 2 or 3 requests recently for years and years of information from outside sources that use one person in the state to like try to like, I guess, hedge on the law and say that they have a person in the state that they're using to request all this information. But all these things again take a tremendous amount of time, and without without the proper systems in place, those just cost us more time and effort to get these things together. So I'm just bringing this up to discuss and have council start thinking about options and policies and different ways we want to look at handling information requests going forward. We touched on the water tower already. Like financial planning and the city fuel, or the financial planning in your packets. You guys had a packet that kind of discussed all of the policies that we talked about with Brad earlier. Basically, it's setting the amount of debt that we typically incur. It's setting how we would manage the debt, how much of a rainy day fund we have. It's just a basic fiscal policy that just kind of puts some guidelines around how we manage the city as a whole. I mean, it's, as Brad highlighted, having this policy in place helps us with the bond rating, but it also is just good fiscal policy for a city to implement. And so I was going to check if the council had any questions, concerns, or suggestions about the policy that's been presented. Okay. Hearing no issues, I'll just add one piece to it. Something that I discussed, I think around November and December, I talked about using our rainy day fund to try to make money for us. Our current bank, we've now gone from, again, paying $1,000 or more in month in fees to actually making several $1,000s in interest a month on the money that we have just sitting in the accounts. But we could be making more. And so right now we sit on a pretty steady surplus of about $4.5 million. And as part of it may not need to be a policy, but as part of a plan, I would like to see us take around $3 million, which would be 5 years of debt service. As we are now, it would be slightly less than that of where we're maybe if we go this route, but to put that into 90-day revolving bonds, CDs. Thinking about bonds. 90-day revolving CDs. Based on how much it is, we'd have to split it up strategically to keep us within the, I guess I'm gonna say the safe limits, but the FICA, or the, is that not? FDIC ratings. Like basically, banks can only manage so much money based on FDIC laws safely. So you have to actually break that money up into multiple CDs and create them sometimes even across different entities. But basically, the simple math is if we put $3 million into 90-day rotating CDs, we could be making $120,000 to $160,000 a year in interest that would just start compounding. So this is our road impact money, this is our sewer impact money, this is our water impact fees, and then the money that we are legally we're required to keep so much money towards debt payments put up. And legally, that's 2 years and of payments. But this would put us take advantage of the money that we have, put us where we're even in a more safe position and more solid position, and basically make our money earn money, right? And so 120 to 160 a year, that's a couple employees, a couple of vehicles, and/or we just let it keep rolling and growing so that we can manage the things we need in the future. But I just putting that out there because I want to come up with a more solid plan and then present it to council, because I think it's a smart way for us to put our money to use rather than just, while we're earning 1% just sitting there, we could be earning 3.5 to 4% right now in the CD market. All right. Any questions, concerns, or issues with that approach? Okay. Next is our city fuel card policy. So I don't believe it made it into the packet yet, but we're working on a is it okay? So we have a new fuel card policy implemented because we've had a few issues with misuse of our fuel cards, and I mean it's an important part of being able to run a city is to be able to like have our employees like manage themselves and manage their vehicles efficiently, and so we just want to implement a new policy, basically adding a card per employee where they each have their own PIN numbers, and so that they're not sharing cards, and it makes everything a little bit more linear and more traceable. And so along with our other systems we have in place, this would just be a good next step and a good policy to lay these things out, right? Proper use, proper policies, and what happens if you misuse it. So if y'all review that, if you might have any questions on it. All right, we'll be bringing that up probably for a vote at the next meeting. All right, and circling to our topics for the regular agenda, we have the property adjacent to City Hall. I was intended to have a letter from Brian Camp with all the details of what they wanted the cash price for the land next to us, but it's roughly $270,000 is what they're asking for. I believe it was on the map that he presented to us last week. But I mean, they're not budging on the price, and they're very adamant that they've done a lot for the city over the years, and they're just asking, you know, they thought this would have been a no-brainer, and so 270 is the cash price, and so council has more questions, concerns, or issues with the now that you know the cash price. And for the public, we're discussing the property adjacent to City Hall, so two and a half lots. It basically would allow the city to control all the land around us except for where North Valley Church is located. And so it gives us a lot of development opportunities. All right, no questions there. Josh, he'll, Josh is going to come and talk to us about some of the fire department needs. Just to touch base on your request, and then I'll maybe elaborate a little bit.
Absolutely. So, as everybody knows, we've had the issues with maintenance on trucks. So, per the proposal that Chief Thomas sent out, he gave the quotes on the different trucks, the rough estimates on what it's going to cost to fix them. So, for 753, which is an older truck, it's over 30 years old, 1993. The estimated cost to fix that truck is roughly around $5,000. The only issue with that truck is due to the motor being a Detroit. There's not a lot of places that's going to be able to fix them. So it was recommended to Williams that it be transferred out to Atlanta to be worked on, but there are multiple places out of Birmingham that can work on the truck. Second was the 754. The estimated cost to have it fixed was $10,000. It's still 20-year-old truck, but once it gets in place, it was second line engine at the time. It can be done local. It's one of the better trucks to have to be in use. It's still a great operating truck, drives great, pumps great, never had issues on that side of it. And lastly is the truck that's sitting in the sewer plant. It was purchased out of Texas. So what we know as of right now, the transmission issues are $20,000 fixed. That is off the top, that is a rough estimate. If that is the only issue the truck has, we don't know. The truck's been sitting at the sewer plant before this administration. We are getting word of mouth on the exact issue. We went based off of that. If we go the $20,000 to fix it, that does not guarantee a fix. That guarantees that issue with the transmission is fixed. It doesn't guarantee us a working apparatus. So it was proposed that we spend $10,000, get the better of the three fixed. Take the other two, see what we can do with them. But that's the one that's going to be the quickest fix, the quickest, like secondary apparatus we can get back into service so that we can provide the services necessary for the city. That gives us an operating truck. And then we can work on the other two to see what we can go from there. We'd like to just go ahead and sell the other two because even we can fix one, the 753, we can fix it. We're not going to get much more money out of it. We can fix the one that's sitting out of the sewer plant. That doesn't mean that the $20,000 we put in to fix transmission fixes it. So we're just feeding money into something that we don't know is going to be offered. Due to the time frame it's been sitting there, who knows what else is going on with it. But that's what we're sitting right now. But our goal is just to try to get something in service. Because right now we have Rosenbauer, which is a newer truck, but then we have the mini pumper. That doesn't mean we can't use those two, but primarily that mini pumper is not a second line truck. That mini pumper is not used for what we need it for. We can't keep relying on outside services to be our secondary when our primary job is our citizens. That should be everybody's primary job, is to take care of the citizens and let us, do what we need to do. If we can get an apparatus fixed in a hurry, that's what we need to do. It doesn't matter if the decision is right or if it's wrong on our behalf. If it's wrong, at least we make a decision to fix the truck, and then we can go from there. But as of right now, the best decision for this department is to get that truck and what was the proposal done, so we can continue on. So that's about where we're at right now.
Anybody have any questions about that, the repairs and or the proposal by the fire department? Thank you, Josh. I'll elaborate a little bit. So our fire department has basically been going through a lot of strife lately about things that are just them trying to do their day-to-day job and things that are unnecessary. And like when it comes down to who's going to be there on the day of the need, like we want to make sure it's the best people we can. It's that they're trained and have all the equipment that they need. Because the last thing you want is for someone to show up and not have a piece of equipment they need to save your life, to save the life of a loved one. And so all of this boils down to us doing our due diligence to take care of the city and make sure that we have all the equipment we need. And it leads right into the next topic, which is the fire truck proposal. And so, Josh, I'm gonna call you back. Could you just speak to the Phelps proposal? Right. So we had a couple apparatus quotes from Phelps, and you have those handy, Josh? The quotes from Phelps, I can speak to them if you.
Oh yeah, I can. I've got the original quote. Absolutely.
So this ties right back into our issue with our bonds. We know what truck costs, and so we got to find a way to get.
Yeah. So the quote that we received from Phelps was $747,000. The original time frame was anywhere between 60 and 90 days from date of signature to the date of delivery. It wasn't ideal. It wasn't the exact truck that we were looking for, but it was the quickest thing that we could set up that benefited us. Include the minor changes that we were looking for that wouldn't take an extended period of time to fix. It was, at the time, like I said, it was $747,000. They gave us, everything we need. That also included some upgraded equipment that we need. So currently we have so there was a ton of extra hose that was purchased that was in there through previous administrations. But we're in that time frame to where we're almost 20-year-old hose. There was over 87 sections of hose that were ordered in 2008. We're at that we're 2 years off from being that 20-year mark for that hose. We're trying to replace some of that stuff, try to add new hose, some upgraded stuff, along with additional equipment, without removing a truck from being in service and affecting our ISO rates. This would apply the updated equipment on there. It also included some changes to the booster reels, included changes to the master strings that go on top. Everything included. So the original cost was like $720-something thousand. The additional changes bumped it up to $747. Now what that quote is compared to currently, I haven't reached out to the dealer again, the sales rep again, to see. I can most certainly do that to see if anything's changed, if we still are in that same spot. I know the last time I spoke to him after it was kind of shot down the first time, he told me that he didn't know that the more we got to the end of the year, the more the price range would change. So there wasn't a definite on if that, additional, the primary quote was gonna be the same or not, so we can see, I wouldn't expect it, a huge difference.
So we know we're looking at roughly 750,000 plus the additional equipment. And so, this ties right into our original, prices that we factored into the bond issuance. Does any council have any questions, concerns, or issues with what you just heard about Fouts? And I believe basically, like I said, this was sent out a month or two ago, if not more.
Yeah, it was March, back in March, early March.
Any questions, concerns? And I completely agree with getting the right equipment on the trucks when we get them to make sure they're fully decked out with everything that y'all might need. Because, I mean, again, what good's a new truck with those that won't serve a purpose?
I know the, original quote, I didn't present the secondary quote for the, all the equipment. That was gonna be a secondary, thing. We were hoping to look forward to at the end of the year, maybe next year, that we can kind of add or replace some of the older equipment that's sitting there. But I'll get that one as well, and then we can discuss that at a later date. That way we can have a solid, cost plan on that one as well.
Would you like to speak to some of the grants that we've been applied for this month?
So I don't know, I've talked to Chief, I know he's, been working with different people on, particular grants. I know he's working with, getting, grants for stations. I know he's done, the Safer grant, the Equipment is Safer grant. I know he's working on a grant for a potential truck. I know he's working on a few other, grants that we could use. I don't know the extent of everything that he's been working with. So I would leave that part up to him, 100%.
I can speak to these federal grants is what we've been working towards for a long time. And a lot of our system upgrades that we've been doing have been moving towards being able to apply for these federal grants. And so just to apply for these grants, we had to get like 5 years of history and provide them with details of where we've been financially for the last 5 years. And, I mean, we might have options for apparatus, we might not. We might have options for different additional staff, like or additional training for the staff we have, or just to supplement the salaries of the staff that we currently have. There are several options on the table right now that we're looking after and going after. Just like with all things, it takes time to get the information we need, get the systems in place to be able to apply for these. But we're going after some big dollar figures for the fire department to try to bring that money back to Margaret. Any more questions for Josh?
Yeah, can you get us an updated quote on fully functional, ready to go, as soon as it would arrive, what the total cost would be as far as equipment, thermal imagery cameras, and the whole 9 yards. Air packs, the whole 9 yards. I mean, ready tools ready, cordless tools. I mean, everything.
Absolutely.
Can you get an updated quote to us by the next council meeting?
I think
if not by that, it may. I'll get with the sales rep. I'll text him when we leave here and tell him we're working to get a for sure quote on everything we need.
I think the last truck that came, I think we was borrowing Peter to pay Paul with as far as hand tools and everything else.
So that's what we would have to do now. Just on reason. So there are minor things that we have found kind of often hidden places that we can supplement. I would be more than glad to supplement those brand new tools. The problem is we would need additional airbags. We would need new extrication equipment. We really love stabilizing equipment, cribbing equipment, some technical rescue equipment, but all that stuff I would really focus on the primary stuff over this, over everything else. But we can get a full list and go from there. I'm pretty sure I can have it to you by before next council meeting.
I mean, those tools and stuff. I mean, that's common stuff these days, though. I mean, so yes. I mean, I think if we look at something that rolls in ready to go, you know exactly what you're paying. I mean, it's not gotta go get this and get that. I mean, everybody knows up front what's going on.
You said there's currently 87 section of hose right now that is reaching its 20-year mark.
Yep.
How many How much does that leave you all with to work with now, to do your jobs now?
So currently every section, we have, I would say 30 to 50 sections of 2.5 inch hose sitting on a rack. We don't utilize 2.5 inch hose that much. We use 5 inch hose. So one of the trucks removed the sections of hose on there. But without speaking against any different or past administration, I can't find the exact dates on stuff. I literally found information this past week because I happened to run across it and saw where this stuff was done. It was 2.5 inch hose, 1.5 inch hose, and then there were a few sections of 5 inch hose. We're not going to utilize the 2.5 inch hose. That is not a main supply line. That's going to be hoses we're going to use for our larger diameter master strings. So the reality is we would need a bigger hose. The other stuff can be utilized if it's still good when we do our hose testing. We will know more about that on a later date. But it was purchased in 2008. That's what I do know. There were some hose that was purchased when the newer Rosenbauer was purchased to kind of move some stuff around. I just don't know the exact amount at that time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
One last thing before we go in, before we have public comment. Want to make a proclamation. So we're hosting a Juneteenth event for the first time in the city's history, and I think it's the only Juneteenth event in the county that's going on right now. And so just making a proclamation, we're going to hang this in the lobby out front just to recognize Juneteenth and everything it stands for. And so Patrice has done a great job getting the event put together and working on things with the Parks and Rec Board, and we just appreciate all it's done, and we want to make sure that we commemorate the event, and especially with it being a state holiday, and officially recognized now here in Margaret as well. So thank y'all. And we had one person sign up for public comment, Mr. Hunter.
Good evening. Here to our recent members of the Commission Council. Gary Howard, President of District 5, living here in Margaret. Rise tonight to discuss and bring a couple of items to your attention. As you know, I like to use quotes from a song, and tends to make us think at a deeper level and engage our minds. So tonight, my quote is from Fatboy Slim. I have to praise you like I should. So first, Councilmember Bell, congratulations on completing Leadership St. Clair, and hats off for taking the lead on Juneteenth. Great job. Councilmember Davis, crab boil, a race funds for our fire department, and spearheading the 4th of July effort. So pivoting now to what I'd like to speak about, my first item is a question. On Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, I made a fully qualified legal public records request to the city during a called meeting. It's now been 43 days, and I've yet to receive anything other than a notice from the mayor that says he has his data ready, as well as Councilmember Davis's. The rest of you are going to comply. We need to bring legal action because it's going to cost us money, and we shouldn't have to compel people to do their jobs as public servants. So I'd like to show of hands, who doesn't want to comply and thinks, yeah, I should go take a flying leap at a rolling donut? Okay, so then that's good. All of you will comply with the request that the mayor's made. You have a competent counsel. I know he's not a $500 an hour lawyer, but I can guarantee you he knows the legalities and the risks of noncompliance. My second topic for the council is about missed opportunity. There's one great thing about land. They ain't making any more of it. I would respectfully ask that you reconsider the motion to acquire the land next to City Hall, and regardless of the potential for a grocery store or other commercial development, I'll lend an additional opinion. First of all, it's buildable as it's among some of the flattest land in the city. Secondly, if we aren't able to get a grocery store or commercial development, we have it as a carrot. Third, the plan to have our PD in trailers is unsound. We all know that when there's severe weather, who's the first people we tell to go to shelter? People in temporary structures. Where's our PD? In a temporary structure. Placing our first responders in the position of being expected to be on duty while in a temporary trailer during a storm is not a good look. So maybe one day we look at a municipal complex to include the PD and Public Works as well, albeit not the warehouse or the maintenance complex. If that doesn't come to fruition, sell it. It wasn't a bad deal, even if the roads were involved in the swap needs some repair. It's still land next to City Hall, and it's the major intersection of two major arterial routes in this county. It was evidenced by the residents who attended the One Margaret kickoff that they were resolute in their opinions that they want commercial growth. So my final comment is when opportunity knocks, open the door, and unfortunately your vote last week was to double lock the door. At least allow the mayor to possibly negotiate a more palatable deal and bring it back, and we can always screw the door shut at the next meeting. My third item is going to tie closely with my fourth and last item. I'd like to point out the defeat of the motion to authorize the swap land taps for land to build a water tower. The main point here is that some folks pointed out how crazy it was to build two water towers side by side. Notwithstanding the city's contract engineer with his expertise is demonstrated by his holding of a professional engineer license is not enough. We might want to look at the cities of Columbus, Ohio, Duluth, Minnesota, Arlington, Texas, Granger, Iowa, Canton, Kansas, Pratt, Kansas, St. Clair, Minnesota, and Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. We're all having water towers side by side. Benefits are multifold. One, we can maintain water pressure while one of the water towers is down. That water tower is old. It's going to need to be drained. It's going to need to be resurfaced inside. It's probably going to need structural rehab at some point. Well, when we have a hydro pillar, two towers side by side, we can do that. And as the American Water Works Association website says, hydro pillars are constructed to maintain required water pressure for rapidly growing areas or provide backup capacity during maintenance. So it's not an uncommon practice, and that leads me to my fourth item. Apathy about the fire service. I can assure you that nobody cares more about our fire service than the resolute professionals who work tirelessly, assisted by our volunteer corps that's coming up, guided under the leadership of Chief Thomas and directed by the fire department's council liaison, Council Member Davis. We heard the chief's words 2 weeks ago when he talked about response times. 8 minutes to Brookhaven and Ridgefield, and that does not include train or traffic backup from a potential vehicle accident. We exceed the 4.5 minute average, we average 4.5 minutes to the rest of Margaret. That 8 minute response time exceeds NFPA's standard guidelines of a 6 minute response time for starters. Does anybody know what exsanguination is? Anybody? Exsanguination is death caused by loss of blood. I can assure you that when somebody bleeds out in the real world, you bleed out in under 3 minutes. That's the time to get from rest of Margaret down to those two neighborhoods, and where we're building more homes. A net wound per the National Library of Medicine, using the Mullins formula, which is how we calculate how quickly somebody can bleed to death, is about 2.8 minutes for 40% of blood loss on the average U.S. male. Real world example that was given by autopsy, a 70-year-old male on a ladder fell through a single glass pane and cut his arm under the right armpit. Reached hypervolemic shock at 4.4 minutes. Trained responders arrived at 5.5 and was pronounced dead at the scene. So if you don't think 3.5 minutes doesn't matter, you are dead wrong. And that's just trauma. And that doesn't include criminal acts like gunshots or stabbings. I hope we never see one. Mechanical trauma like a lawnmower blade, a vehicle accident in excess of 40 miles an hour, or an industrial accident. An even higher percentage of exsanguination occur in patients who are either pregnant and experience a pregnancy-related medical emergency, or those who take blood thinners. So we have those people. They're here. Now, if there was never a need to provide better services proven by science, there you have it. Secondly, we have a growing population. We know that more homes equals more cars equals more traffic equals longer response times, even in the absence of a train. So staying on the thread of the why about fire engines and fire service, or as the fire service calls them, apparatus. We have 2 active engines, as we all just heard, and 3 engines in reserve. Of those reserve engines, professional mechanics, not shade tree mechanics, but those possessing credentials equal to or required by NFPA 1701 for the service of fire apparatus, have deemed 1 engine not worth the effort to repair, and the other 2 are old enough to potentially lower our fire services risk rating, which will impact the city in many ways. For those who do not know what ISO is, it stands for the Insurance Services Organization, Office. It's an independent, non-for-profit organization. ISO scores fire departments on how well they do against standards determining property insurance costs. For many departments, ISO ratings are a way to validate operational standards, support funding discussions, demonstrate a commitment to protecting the community. ISO ratings are scored from 1, the absolute best, and less than 2% of all fire departments nationwide are class 1, to 10, which is considered unreliable and likely not to be a factor in the outcome of a fire. Anybody want to take a guess what ours is? No, not that bad. We're sitting at 4. So today we're sitting at 4, which is good, but it's on the high side, and it's good because it's on the high side of the national average, which is 4 to 6. But we run the risk of falling lower, and I'll tell you why. ISO ratings take a look at 4 major areas, those being emergency communications, that counts for 10% of your score. Community risk reduction, 5.5, but you only get to earn it as extra credit if you get 100. Fire department operations, 50% of the score. Fire department operations include meeting a minimum staffing level, providing regular training, and maintain apparatus and equipment in operational working condition. Our last 40% is water supply. Are we seeing a trend here? Water supply ensures that we have to have an adequate and reliable water supply for firefighting. We conduct regular hydrant inspection and flow testing, and we document and map our water sources for easy accessibility. So you can see by the math, 90% of our ISO rating revolves around categories that, as a council, we're struggling with. And called out in the ISO Verilink website is a couple of interesting bullets. One of them says, we, being ISO, review the distribution of fire companies throughout the area and checks that fire departments test their pumps regularly and inventories each engine and ladder companies' equipment according to NFPA 1901. We review company records to ensure such factors as maintenance and testing of the equipment. So we just heard that even if we spend a lot of money on this, repair of the existing engines, it may not be in our best effort. It also discusses apparatus age and recommends the fire departments fire apparatuses maintain frontline service for a maximum of 15 years. After this period, they are recommended to be moved to reserve or secondary duty for an additional 5 to 10 years. And why is that? Number 1, safety. Older trucks lack modern features like rollover protection, 3-point seat belts, and advanced airbags. Number 2, mechanical and part reliability. As trucks age, parts get harder to find. So we're going to spend a lot of money to maybe fix a 20-year-old truck to get it to roll, and then we find out the pump doesn't work. And then we find out there are no parts for the pump. At $20,000, you might as well put it on the floor and lit it on fire. The other issue is inadequate braking systems. These engines, the older engines, are large. Put 5,000 to 7,000 gallons of water in them, 7 pounds. You can do the math. What happens when you go down the hill and the brakes don't work? They're slow to pick up, slow to accelerate. Chassis may be weakened due to constant load bearing or overloading. You can see where this goes. But I want to close with one thing, and that's my personal opinion here that, we ask that you act courageously, all right? You're informed by our experts, you're informed by the leaders. Make decisions with the best and most current information we have. We place our faith and trust in you as the leaders, and we either do that or we go down the road like the citizens of other cities in Alabama have had to do, and force referendums on a tax millage increase. It shouldn't have to be like that. I think everybody here tonight understands the condition of our apparatus, understands the condition of our water system, and how those two tie together to make this community safer. So I'd ask that you would muster the courage to make a hard decision about the safety, the well-being, and the long-term viability of the community. I ask you to give consideration to the matter about fire service and the vote to make this happen. Thank you.
With Mr. Heinrich's speech, points well made and points well taken. I just want to highlight that obviously he went a little bit long there, but he's the only person signing up to speak. And so we need more people to give their input and to step up and speak. Until we have more input, we just need more input, period. I mean, it's not hard to send an email, send a message, something, several, and there's even a form on the website to submit a request to be on the agenda to speak. And so you submit the request, you get on the list, and you have the opportunity to speak. We're trying to set it up to where we have topics presented at one meeting and then voted on the next meeting, so there's plenty of time for you to understand, learn, study, and then come speak to them. But even still, you can sign up to speak and say you don't need to after hearing what's said during the work session. So even if you maybe think you have something to say that gets addressed while you're here, you can choose not to. So the podium is here for a reason, and public input is a big part of what helps the city run. So we will try to start restricting, make sure we're keeping our eye on the time, but when there's only one person who signs up, it can have good points today. I mean, we're running a little bit long, but we need more people to speak up.
I'm going to touch real quick. Josh spoke with Greg, the sales rep from Fouts, and he said the original quote that he gave us for the 750 roughly thousand is still good right now. So if it's right now, that quote is still an accurate number.
And last thing before we adjourn, close the work session, does council have anything to say?
I want to touch on what he said. Do I think another fire department's needed? Absolutely. Do I think the location that we've chosen is the greatest location? No. However, we've got our police officers sitting here in a double wide trailer that we're wasting money on every single day that they stay there. And we haven't come up with a first option to move them forward. So moving forward, I would like to publicly say a new police station and a new fire station should probably be a joint effort into putting the first priority into our first responders, not just one or the other. We should do it as both, because all we're doing, it seems like we're jumping to one department when there's multiple departments across the city. It's not fair for them. They don't even have, I mean, I could see two officers down there. The third one can't even fit in the parking lot because there's nowhere for them to park. The right side of the bay at Fire Station 1, you can't even walk into because there's physically no room. So we're outgrowing everything that we currently have. So we need to broaden our plan to include both departments where we can physically say at the end of the day, we're actually have a plan to move both departments forward that's acceptable in a proficient way.
So there are several opinions, several takes on this, but the police department is actually where they physically located where they want to actually have a station, because they want to be centrally located on County Road 12. And the plan as it sits is to actually build the station on the other side of the track so that we have that separation and the ability to have a turnaround time and response time. And then once Fire Station 1 is no longer needed, that will be used as a site for a police station. So there's a plan in place, and a plan that I think was talked about when we originally chose to put those trailers in. So that is the plan. I mean, but it takes one step in front of the other. We have those trailers for at least a year, and so the sooner we can get the station going, the sooner we can start the next phase of the plan. So all things are being considered, but like to put them together would put the people on the other side of the city, because the fire or the police department wants to be in that physical location to be centrally located. But the fire department needs a location on the other side of the tracks so that they can have good response times on in either case, whether the train stops on the tracks or not. And we're also looking at multiple possibilities for facilities around us, going after grant funds to get engineering and do other things. So there's several balls in the air, several opportunities on the table. And so like to hone in on one, we've got to be able to look and be able to pivot and be able to go with where the path takes us. And that's why there's a little bit of headroom in this bond money so that we can build another building somewhere else. Because I mean, just frankly, even this building alone, when the police department moved out, it's still already overcrowded, and then has a lot of potential still. So that is, I mean, it's a good suggestion, but putting them together, I don't think is the best path forward for the way where the department's going to be.
I don't think he meant put the stations together. I think he meant work on both stations at the same time.
Yep.
And I mean, I also don't think that spending $1.5 million for an empty building with 2 restrooms and a closet structure, I mean, those guys deserve better. We should spec it out with bedrooms, sleeping quarters, living quarters, offices, admin offices. I mean, if we're going to build it, let's build it the right way from the beginning, and not let's piece something together and go about $1.5 million for a blank building with 2 bathrooms. It's unacceptable. I mean, we can't say that we're trying to do what's right for them. I mean, they're currently in a building that was pieced together already. So spending $1.5 million, it costs $3 million to build something the right way. I'd rather do it the right way the first time knowing we ain't got to go back and redo it.
And to your
I mean, that's just common sense.
Jonathan, to your point, I don't know if you've seen Gardendale Station 3's or Gardendale Fire Department Station 3's new station. That is, I think that's the station itself looks great. I think that would work for us. I do want to get the opinion of the people who are going to be living in it, see what their thoughts are, but
Absolutely.
I agree. And I have talked to Matt about that. I just could not get all of those, numbers before tonight. Unfortunately, I do know that that station cost $2.5 million to build. But again, I don't have the specifics of it. I'm happy as soon as I can get those, I'm happy to share them with everybody to see what your thoughts are, as well as the guys who are going to be, having to live in it. And I have asked about, another spot, not so much right there at Brookhaven, because that is a kind of a hard spot. I know it's an open spot. But we'd have to wait for the state to come in and put in a light, because anytime there's an emergency, the fire department needs to be able to control the light so traffic can stop on both sides to allow entrance and exit of the vehicles coming in and out. Everybody knows those are quite large. They're not going to stop on a dime, and it's going to do some damage if somebody hits it or they, hit someone. So I've asked about, it was a mention that Smithfield Farms, but I think they're going to try to build on every piece of property that they have available. They're going to try to build a home on, so that's not going to be feasible. I know it's been mentioned that there is a piece of property, and you'll have to forgive me, it's down Saney on the right. I know that there are 2 mobile homes on that right now, but it is someone's owned property. Maybe that the city could offer to buy them out and get them in a better, living position. But again, I I'm not sure of another place at this moment that the station could go and it would be feasible for the fire department. So if anybody has, options or thoughts on where another one could go aside from Brookhaven, that one just is open. It's a straight shot.
The main thing with the Brookhaven station is that the idea is already there. Building out the inside a little bit more or adding a little bit more space to it, those are all options that are still on the table, but we know the rough price for the square footage and the size of the building. Again, the plan is still to continue to purchase that other home eventually. So anything built in that station is a temporary solution until we can purchase the model home behind it. So it is, it's a combination between building something that's as nice as we can make it for the workers who are going to be there, but at the same time knowing that there's a phase or a step out plan to get them something even nicer for living quarters. But I mean, and again, we're at a point where we're already 5 or 6 years beyond where we should be as far as planning and execution. And so we are under a bit of a time constraint, but still the conversation is necessary, needed, and that's why I asked Keith to be here to speak to it. And so you don't know if there's anything from this conversation. I believe we spoke about the Gardendale station. You had, I could be making that up. Did you have the numbers and knew about the?
I certainly have heard of that, but I do have some contacts in Gardendale, so I think I can get you some information on the bids for it.
Yes, sir.
Also, I could probably get you some square footages and living quarters that typically other cities will share with you and give you some ideas, so I can work on that for you, and I'll do so.
I mean, I think the house is. I mean, it's a good plan initially, but let's say it's 12 degrees outside. We're gonna get up. We're gonna walk outside, and we're gonna go a tenth of a mile just to walk in and hop in the truck and then go. We just extend our response times by 4 minutes. So if we're talking about response times and everything else, everything needs to be built in house. That house is a great plan moving forward. Great plan, man. It sounds so great. However, they may be 3 to 5 years. Let's say the economy crashes, right? It's happened before, correct? It could happen again. Let's say it takes 5 years for the development to be done over there. What are we going to do for 5 years? We're going to put them on cots? That's unacceptable. I mean, what if we build something the correct way, like every other municipality around us has done? Shelby County, Jefferson County, they're walking into something it's there. It's the way it should be from the beginning. So instead of trying to polish a turd, let's do it the correct way from the beginning and you don't have to go back and redo anything. You see what I'm saying? What we've currently done is we've wasted $75,000. And now we're heating the upstairs, we're heating the downstairs, we're cooling both. We could do it all the correct way from the beginning. So $1.5 million for an empty shell of a building, to me, that's pretty much a waste of money. I mean, but that's just my 2 cents. I mean, if we could build, because let's say you spend another $1 million trying to furnish it and everything else. Well, guess what? You could just build it the right way, $2.5, $3 million and been done. Let's not build it for today. Let's build it for tomorrow.
That's why there's 3 bays and one that we'll open up that 3rd bay when we get another area for them to have living quarters. And like, there's so much negativity in that statement rather than focusing on taking advantage of the opportunity. And again, this has not been an overnight decision. This has been a multi-year plan to figure all these things out and get all the pieces in place and to have the conversation. I'm sorry that you weren't part of the conversation or chose to like attack, because I mean, you just talked about taking the opportunities for the fire department. And I'm hoping during the regular session, we'll take this care and admiration from the fire department and help push some of their topics and things that they need forward. But like, we can still modify the inside and tweak the fire station a little bit to make it more amenable, more feasible. But at the same time, like, the opportunity is here, and you're talking about trying to almost reset, which would change everything and delay us no telling how long. And when the fire department need is already several years past due. So I think no, I won't go there. The point is to look for the opportunity we have and make it as good as we can, and then build it out. And I mean, we can make up false things about 1/10 of a mile, but I mean, we could easily build a covered walkway from the model home into the back of the fire station. It's probably going to be 15, 20 yards tops. I mean, it's not that far. And really, into the meantime, they're going to be in the building with it, and we can either make the building slightly bigger, add some space. There are several other options that we need to look at what those options are with the opportunity we have in front of us. Like, we can make what we have work. We just have to look at the options and build it out, but not say we need to start over because we weren't part of the original plan.
I'm not saying start over. I'm just saying we need a more professional look to hand out and to bid on, instead of we're just going to build a $1.5 million building and then hopes that we can do it the correct way. We don't need to hope we can do it the correct way. We need to do it the correct way from the beginning.
Who said hope? And you keep using this negativity rather than focusing.
There's no negativity. There's no negativity at all. I'm not being negative. I'm simply stating they deserve better than what we currently have. They deserve better than what's been proposed. There's 2 restrooms inside that building and a mechanical room. They deserve a kitchen, a living quarters, a living room, and separate bedrooms. And if we have lieutenants and we have captains, they deserve a separate bedroom and a bigger office, because their priorities and their responsibilities are greater than those of just a regular employee.
I don't disagree.
I'm just saying, if we're going to build it, let's build it right from the beginning, and not try to do something that we're going to regret later on, because we're going to end up dumping more money in it than we would if we had an original plan. So I don't know where you're saying that we've had a plan for several years when we've all been in office for 7 months. Several years and 7 months is 2 totally different things. I'm being proactive in my approach is what I'm doing. There's nothing negative in my response.
So I agree that they deserve the best they can get, but this is a good plan and a good approach, and we can improve upon it. But there's no reason to start over. And I think you'll get some more information by the next meeting, and then I'll give us some time to work on the bond issue and review the opportunities there. I mean, again, as Brad mentioned, we have headroom, but at the same time, the department has been part of this process since we've been in office, and I have been working on this plan and process for 4 years myself, getting it in place, presenting it, having to keep draft up the plans and the overlays. So it's been several years in the making, no matter who's been where, and the deals are being worked on to try to acquire the land. We should have something by the end of the month to say that we have a deal for the property and first right of refusal on the model home. So there are several balls that are moving to make this, get this done so that we can give the fire department what they need more than anything, which is another facility on the side of the tracks. And at the end of the day, it's about getting it for the citizens and to protect the citizens. So I think they do deserve better, and I hope our votes during the council meeting will reflect that. And so, does council have anything else? All right. Hearing nothing else, we'll adjourn for 10 minutes till 7:30 and reconvene for the regular city council meeting. Motion to adjourn. Vice Chair, we're adjourned.
Yes.
I hadn't seen it. Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
You can feel
Oh, they
it now.
glued it. I can see it. They just glued it back, didn't they?
No, that's just where they did the biopsy. Yeah. It's about that big around.
When did they say they'd call you back?
They said up to 2 weeks before we find out. A week to 2 weeks. He said the sample that they sent to UAB should come back this week. The one they sent to the cancer center
Should come back in 2 weeks. Yeah, probably physical. So, are you familiar with the city, like Lead Station 1? Have you been in it? Never.
I tell you, if you want building ideas, don't follow Birmingham because everything we built works.
No.
We built a brand new Station 8 2 weeks after it being in. The bay doors broke. The automatic bay doors broke, and then
I think something like that happened with Leeds too. Once something was built, and then as soon as they got into it, something with the bay doors messed up, or the glass, or something in the door. The little windows that I think it was initially like small glass windows, and then they had to take those out because they weren't. I don't know 100%, but I don't like those. Josh is very against that one. I mean, he works it, so it's just a lot of wasted space. Huh? Oh yeah, he's back there.
Yes, sir.
Nice throw, wasn't it? Got the comments out of it, right?
Mm-hmm. So I have clinicals, but then it can come after I get done with clinicals.
You've been out in the sun.
Yeah.
Some photos. First thing I noticed when I sat down, I'm like, you're not like.
No, I've been taking the baby to the pool just to get her, wear her out.
Oh.
Thanks.
What color tan?
Yeah.
One thing I was hoping Michael would say, and I knew he didn't know, so I wanted to jump up and whisper in his ear. Like, they're not reporting the condition of those trucks. I said,
No, and that's. Anything to drink here?
Have a fancy chairs down there. I think so. Yeah.
Here for that station, so one believes like there's a lot of ways to station when you look at
Yeah. You still get one chance. You see that fire station in Trump, I'll bet the one in Trump. To trust. You got to turn right by the softball complex. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, everything stay good.
That's all I've got. All that changes, you know,
I actually farms, and I was told that they are intending to build on equity. You're talking about right there that, that's right between Nelsie and. Right. And that's, is that something like?
Somebody will get a phone and they're gonna call. I'm just saying, maybe 2026.
Yeah, and that land, I don't know that property right there. I don't know how much it's worth, but I was like, if you offer $150,000, that's gonna give them a certain, the houses, the trailers really aren't. They rent homes there, and they were pulling power, sharing it like ports to the other one. No, I'm talking about where the other one is building the entire station right there. No, that's trailers on. Like if you offer them $150,000 for that land. Yeah. Sort of, yes.
Because you pull out a rich piece.
Yeah.
Right there. You look down, right there, and they're right there.
What's that?
Yeah. Tommy, what's the preference? Right across the street, there's two trailers back.
So if we offer them $150,000 for that, I mean, that would certainly get them, that could get them a piece of property and it could get them a livable place. Well, the one that the 750 is the one that's not completely spec'd out. It's not it's for the other.
Just like over numbering. 1 minute. Okay. I told you months ago that I've had a friend that's moving.
I can.
And I was going to be looking for a position that's him in the
Try.
right
Jonathan said he can get those plans for Station 3 if I want to see those.
So I'd like to
This
see
is
if
a
there's
picture of
something
it.
you might be able to work out to get his point.
Yeah, I'll give you.
Yeah, it's not a rush, but I've been meaning to talk to you about it. Oh, yeah, and it's finally here.
Yeah.
So I don't want to forget.
Did we have
So, and I think this would,
Yeah, it was
I
free.
mean, I think that's
I missed it completely. Jeff wasn't even aware of it.
it would give us 2 days. Don't need,
And this week
don't
they're
really need
coming
a
out.
3-day theory, but
Tour.
gives us the 2 days and then, like, you know, I think that
Well,
looks
Thursday.
aesthetically
I was
nice.
in
Yeah, or not even that much. We could find another place and stuff like that.
Are the trash cans back there? This piece of paper just won't.
Yeah, I'll put it back there. I'll put it back. But,
All right, everyone. Appreciate everyone. It's 7:30. We're going to call the regular council meeting to order. We'll start with the opening prayer. Mr. Barker, would you mind leading this prayer?
Thank you for this city that you've given us to live in and call home. We pray for our mayor and our council. Pray that you give them wisdom and direction to lead us in a way that please you. We ask in Christ's name.
Remain standing for the pledge. Attention, salute, pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, if you'll call roll.
Councilperson Bell?
Present.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Here.
Councilperson Davis?
here,
Mayor Pro Tem Gray? Mayor Correa?
Here. All right, thank you all for being here tonight, and as we get into this meeting, I want to remind everybody this is the regular session, and this is where we vote on the stuff that we've discussed tonight and are at the last council work session. And so, first, we've already made the Juneteenth proclamation, and so we're going to jump down to the resolution about the property adjacent to City Hall. We're just representing this again for consideration now that we have the cash price as well. Are there any motions or topics about this we'd like to consider?
it was 270.
270.
Or we trade the,
Are we trade taking ownership of the roads for the property, and the roads combined together was about 200,000 for repairs, but again, it doesn't require them to all be repaired this year, and so it's not an immediate expense.
You said total repairs was 200,000.
200,000. All the quotes were in the packet, I believe. 2
I
meetings
just
ago.
have it to my city.
Okay.
you take one.
One in here.
Rocks.
So that was the repairs plus the materials, right at 200,000. That's if we were to repair all of them immediately, but that's not required.
You said plus material.
Plus material.
What was that number?
200,000 if we,
To fix it.
to fix all of them, yeah.
That's without material, correct?
That's with material.
That's with material.
With material.
Yeah,
Okay.
100,000 for the labor, and then roughly 100,000 for the material.
How many roads?
Yeah, I believe it was 5, but Mr. Parker, do you get
5 and a piece.
I think you
yeah,
have 5 and a little
and
bit.
a fraction? I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion that I'd swap I'd agree to fix the roads and
All right, Councilwoman Smith Davis makes a motion to adopt the resolution where we would take ownership of the roads in exchange for the property.
I second.
Councilwoman Bell seconds the motion. Do we have any discussion?
do we know, like, of those 5 roads, which ones are gonna, like, we're looking at to repair? Are any of them like are urgent, like right away? Is it Jeffrey Wilson?
Jeffrey Wilson is the most urgent. Mr. Walker, would you like to speak to it?
Yes, sir, this, of the two, of the five, two of them, needs attention. Number, Jeff Wilson Drive needs it as soon as we can get to it, especially two areas of it. And then over on Magnolia Crest Way, it'd be the second one. The other three could wait probably 2 or 3 years. I'm just guessing, but they're not as critical as those two.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
No.
Mayor Reese?
Yes. All right, motion passes. Resolution passes. All right, moving right along, we've got the fire department request. And so this is a kind of a multifaceted topic. And so I'll start with the bond process. And so while we still have some discussion in engineering work, it sounds like, I want to just make a point that the bond process is an interim process to the fire ordinance, but we could ask them to start working on the paperwork and start working on the details and get back to us so that we could present an ordinance at the next council meeting. If we were to have to adjust it, if we want to build a larger station or make tweaks, then we can make those adjustments in time. And then, so we could present an ordinance at the next council meeting and then vote on the ordinance at the last council meeting in July. So if we're serious about doing something, whether it be what the current plan and a modified current plan or something slightly different, we could start pursuing the financing now. And that would also give us the opportunity to go ahead and get the apparatus that we have got the quote on. And so I think it'd behoove us to request a motion to allow Brad and his team to start working on a proposal with you.
Yeah, one thing, that's right. So we'll come back. You know, this is a 6 to 8 week process if we move with no hiccups in the road. And yes, we could start the financing documents. So that will take some time, and it really has no effect on how much you're looking to borrow. We can kind of plug that in after the fact. So yes, we could start that. One thing I would recommend is for the council to adopt what's called a reimbursement resolution. And obviously that's not in your packet tonight. We'd be happy to send that to you, but that allows you to spend money, general fund money, reserves, and then reimburse yourself whenever the financing closes. So you don't have to be in a hurry to get the financing done. We can get the ball rolling. It is quite a long process, but that way, as Keith is working and all the other professionals, you guys can go ahead and be dealing with them and come out of general fund, and then when the bond issue closes, then you can reimburse yourself. It doesn't require you to reimburse yourself. It just gives you the flexibility to do that in the future if you want. If you don't have that resolution adopted, then U.S. Treasury regulations don't allow you to just take tax-exempt bond money and put it in your general fund. So I would recommend that, and you could pass a resolution tonight if you wanted to, kind of authorizing that process. Raymond James to begin the financing process, and also a reimbursement resolution, and then we can send that out for your guys' review. But it's a standard 1-page document.
On the reimbursement resolution, like this, make the motion to present it at the next council meeting, and that way we'd have it, give it time to pass over and sign at the next one. That way we have the written document in front of us. Would that be problematic?
No.
All right. All right, so we've got an option to show if we are ready to prioritize this and make the fire station apparatus and the future protection of the residents a priority So we're looking for a motion to allow Raymond James to begin drafting the proposal and to present a reimbursement resolution at the next council meeting.
Make the motion.
Councilwoman Samantha Davis makes a motion. Looking for a second. All right. Okay. Hearing no second, I'll second the motion. Any council discussion about the financing and moving forward on another fire station and apparatus?
What's what's the amount?
The current amount is the 3 million, but if we choose to go larger or need more, we have that headroom and we have the time frame for them to modify it. So that's not written in stone at this point. Just starting the financing documentation and paperwork. And also we'll be presenting, you've been presented with the ordinance. We'll post staff about the debt plan and the financial plan so that we can go to the next council meeting as well, which will help our rating with the bond agencies. All right, hearing no more discussion, roll call vote.
Councilperson Bell,
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilperson Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray,
Abstain.
Mayor Torrisi.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. And thank you. All right. The next piece of information about the fire department request is we've had some requests that have been long outstanding for the department specific handbook policies, the pay scale, and the appointments. So, am I missing anything? So like those have been kicked down the can since February, and so looking for a motion to pass those recommendations from the fire department.
What's the recommendation?
So the recommendations are the appointments to the lieutenant positions and the captain, the additions to their department-specific handbook policies, so with the Kelly time and other fire department-specific handbook topics, and then also moving to a pay scale for the entire department, which is just a generic pay scale from top to bottom. It's not built for positions, but built for flexibility, and it was all in the packets back in February. It was a very.
I think the police department's on that 10-year top out, and the fire department was a 15-year top out.
I don't think the police department's, we have one that was proposed, but we've never passed it or voted on it. So they're not technically, they're technically on a per still, but we are looking into one for the entire city, but this one was prepared and proposed by the fire department. The council has not ratified the police department's pay scale.
So should we do that? Should we do both? I mean, I can do police, but I can't do both.
We need to present, have it presented and talk through it.
I'll make a motion, we table this to the next meeting until we get both. Postpone, sorry.
All right, Councilman McIntyre made a motion to postpone this until the next meeting. Do we have a second?
You said until we get both, is that what you said?
Correct.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second by Councilman Ray. Any more discussion? All right, so continue to delay. We'll go ahead and roll call vote.
Councilperson Bell,
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre.
Yes.
Councilperson Davis,
Do I have to abstain from this one?
it's motion for, like, no, you don't have to, because it's not actually,
So, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Teresa.
no. All right, the next topic in this, bundle is the actual, what's been presented to us for the second time, and that's the selling of two of the, vehicles in bad shape in order to repair the third. It's, you've all should have been given the quotes in email and discussed pretty thoroughly here in the council chambers. And so looking for a motion to allow the fire department to, sell two vehicles and repair the third.
I'll make the motion.
Councilwoman Samantha Davis makes the motion to allow the fire department to, I guess you can have it, looking for a second.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Bell seconds the motion. Any discussion?
So what's this?
So there's three inoperable fire apparatus right now, and most of them are over a certain age limit, and so, well, I mean, all three of them are, but we believe we can, from getting quotes from repairmen, we can sell two of them and use that money to repair the third. So that we take three that are inoperable and try to get one that is operable out of it. It won't help our ISO rating, but at the end of the day, we still have an apparatus that if something happens, they can come to the scene and put out a fire or rescue.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? All right, roll call vote.
Councilperson Bell,
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre.
Yeah.
Councilperson Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray.
Yeah.
Mayor Teresa.
Yes. All right, and, I believe that covers the fire department request other than the fire truck proposal. But like we know, during the work session, we discussed, getting quotes for all the equipment to go on the fire truck. And this kind of, I mean, at this point, financing is has already begun. So, would we like to make a motion to proceed pursuing the fire truck and fire apparatus that we're looking for pending the financing? Or do we want to, or is there any other motions around the balance quote that we were presented with tonight?
I make a motion to postpone it until the next meeting, until Captain Davis has provided us up-to-date quotes with all equipment, hose, everything needed to put the truck in service the day it would arrive. If we have to call a special meeting prior to the next council meeting, when he gives us that information, I myself will do so.
So, Councilwoman Davis already mentioned that the quote still stands for the apparatus, and
He's talking about, that was just the one to get them by. The secondary one would include everything else that they would need, but would looked at purchasing at a later date.
well, the equipment on the apparatus would be separate from the apparatus, right?
You can do it as one.
You can do it as
full quote.
one big thing.
60 to 90 day lead time on the apparatus, right?
You would have to ask
Yeah,
Captain
no,
Davis.
that's what it said during the work session. All right, can you repeat the motion?
Make a motion to postpone it to the next meeting until Captain Davis with the fire department has provided us an up-to-date quote with equipment, hose, everything needed to put the truck in service the day that it arrives. So basically, the only difference would be in the price would be, basically right now, the price we have is for a shell of a truck that it would not be ready to go in service when it gets here. And we have to delay 30, 60 to 90 days. So my motion is to just postpone it until the next meeting until we have the up-to-date quote. And if need be, if he gets it to us, let's say 2 days from now, I'll call an emergency meeting and get that happening.
I'll call a question. Was it truly a shell of a truck, or